Testing. Alright, Mo, this is just gonna be like we'll just call this astrologer guy reacts to trending news, and from there just follow the thread. I kinda already started following the thread, so yeah. So trending news guy Chud the Builder get arrested. He shot somebody. He's some type of provocateur, right? Something like that. Rage baiter. I don't know what you would call it. So I looked it up, right? Chud the Builder. What is a chud? And went to know your meme. Chud is a slang term to refer to people who are considered far from socially normal and unpleasant to be around. The term, undergoing slight changes in its meaning over the decades, has maintained usage as offensive and negatively connotated, right? So Chud can be originally found as the name of a movie from 1984, George Orwell, 1984. It's all dystopian shit going on. I'm sorry about the swearing. Called Chud, CHUD, with the main plot of the creature feature being cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers, or Chud. So a Chud is a cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller, a troll. A Chud is a troll. The trailer for the movie was re-uploaded to YouTube on June 27th, 2018 by Grindhouse Movies. So that's what a Chud is. A Chud is just a troll, a cannibal. What is a cannibal? I would describe a cannibal as, and forgive me if this might sound like you, but anything that eats another thing that got eyes and a mother. If you ask me, I ain't gonna bat, but you know what a cannibal is. It eats its own species. It eats and victimizes its own species. Victimization, now this is the definition of victimization that I kind of gathered or was given to me. Victimization is a system of really projection and insecurities, and victimization trickles downward. So whatever the, I guess, perceived dominant group is, they victimize whoever is at the bottom. The way of the world is to kick you when you down. They kick downwards. Everybody pick fights. They know what they doing. Nobody got no picks. That person is 5150, right? But most people always gonna pick their fights. Most people, they want to perform for other people, for the validation of other people and stuff like that. But a troll, a cannibal, only want validation from other trolls. Alright, so Chud and Chud the Builder, and it's on Wikipedia, June 27th. Oh, same day as the YouTube got re-uploaded, June 27th. There's the thread. So you look at his birth chart, I think this is it. June 27th, Moon conjunct Saturn. He going through Saturn return and shoddy right now. His mind has been perverted, and you kind of gotta, Saturn one is the karma that you deal with in this life. So Saturn might put something on your heart to do certain things, and you might see like, oh yeah, I got it going on, only for it to come crashing down. Rahu has a similar effect. He is of the nature of Saturn. Right, so Sun and Ardra. Sun and Ardra is a Rahu star, so you can kind of consider that as a Sun Rahu conjunction, which is like an eclipse of morals and honesty and righteousness. You dig what I'm saying? It could create a very insecure personality, a person who has internalized some sense of inferiority in their personality and stuff. Moon conjunct Saturn just create really, it create difficulties with women it could create difficulties with how one expresses their emotions and stuff. Once again, internalizing some type of fear or phobia or insecurity. So Saturn return is kind of like a person's wake up call. It's a For some, it could be a realization, past patterns begin to manifest, issues like maybe health and or mental issues begin to manifest. You're gonna have to work through those things, right? Depression could, right? And depression is like, it probably sit on the spectrum too. It's like mania, bro. Like people that deal with like manic episodes, they be, oh man, so charming, meet all the friends, they know everybody, but once they come out of that episode, they want nothing to do with anybody that they met, and now they at the low point again. You understand what I'm saying? So it look different. He doing a whole bunch, and it might seem like, oh man, I'm going viral and I got this going and people seem to support me, but it's like, it's buffoonery. I don't know how I put this, so I don't know how far I am, but Saturn return for a person that is moving reckless is their nigger wake up call. I ain't even gonna bat. That's how you put that. And if I'm not mistaken, the Wikipedia say kind of, well, if we look at the chart, Jupiter, soul planet, Atmakarga kind of shows the biggest pile of karma and trash. Like it's trash that you gotta burn in your chart. Jupiter and Capricorn is falling, so truth, morals, strong sense of ethics and principles, all of that stuff kind of like get washed away. A person really got to deal with the, I mean, yeah, Jupiter and the Saturn sign is karmic. Like Saturn is karmic, so he dealing with that. It's retrograde, so it's very, it's like it's accentuated. In the Wikipedia, say he kind of estranged from his child. Jupiter is Karaka for one's children and the relationship they had with their children. Jupiter is falling in Capricorn, so therefore there's a certain estrangement. Like, feel me? Spouse. Venus is in Cancer. Venus in Cancer is not strong. It's moving a little weird. It's pushed to pulled, is easily influenced a lot of times to do this and do that. Venus and Pusha has themes of what they call third party seduce a spouse, relationship or marriage trauma. Yeah, you feel me? What I was about to say. Yeah, Venus and Cancer, I was gonna say, Venus and water signs can get very kinky. Venus and Pisces also, but it's just like they have a certain gracefulness to them, and that off topic, but because Venus is water tattva, water element. Cancer is water element. Water element is lusty and can be romantic, but it's usually just like, you know, it's kind of just, it's lust. Water actually just represents lust and the sacral chakra, so it's very, very sexual and stuff like that, or sensual, we could say. But also easily influenced, because water just take the shape or whatever, and you know, we find out later in this, like in the news or whatever was trending, this same guy, he got outed or exposed, or maybe he's being exposed allegedly by a trans who pigs him, right? Alright, pulling that thread again. So he come out some freaky things in his past karma. She said it happened around 2015. So the past karma, I guess 10 years ago. 10 years ago, he did something that was extra kinky. He's going through Saturn return and shoddy, which is 7.5 years of bad luck. But it will be a time of reflection. But it's like the karmas, the things that you do, they resurface. They come to the surface again. 10 years ago, I would say Saturn was in Scorpio. So there's a fear of one's sexuality coming to the surface. This is coming to root right now, we could say, or, we could infer. Now, why did he go after a black guy specifically? Why is his content geared towards racism or whatever? We already said there's a deep lying insecurity or inferiority in there. Saturn karmas tend to isolate you to a degree. Where a person isolated, they lack connection. So there's no glue holding things together, really. So where am I going with this? Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, may she rest in peace. She put forth. She said racism is rooted in penis envy. So, and then Professor Joe Casey tells us that Professor Joe Casey tells us that when a man hasn't penetrated anything, maybe he hasn't had sex or success, he gotta penetrate something. So if he not penetrating something, he gotta penetrate something, and it don't matter how. It'll get to a point where that male will say, like the inferior male, he gets to a point where I have to penetrate something. If I can't do it with my penis, I'ma do it with my pistol. So he go to the courthouse, and through victimization, he finds a black person, a black guy specifically. And let's read it. According to Welsing, this unconscious fear and obsession heavily dictates everyday behavior, symbolism, and institutions in white Western society. The gun. Welsing analyzed the gun as a classic phallic symbol. She argued that carrying and firing a gun compensates for the unconscious penis envy and serves as a tool to symbolically destroy the perceived black phallic threat. So it's just like, oh man, my life ain't going right. He really having his nigga wake up call. He having baby mama issues. He can't see his son, and he just mad at the world. You dig what I'm saying? Now you end up in jail on top of that. He really living everything that he chimped out, I guess, if you want to say that, right? She talk about sports. Yeah. But that's like, it's a big part of that. That's the first thing I went to. I was like, oh, it's some freaky, kinky. You ever been around like a couple that abuses each other, and you ever notice how it's like they constantly bring other people into their drama? Once I peeped, I'm like, this is a kink for y'all. Like, y'all just extra freaky, and it has spilled out into or outside of y'all the bedroom that y'all may engage in. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know how I put that, but it's just like, even if it's something I learned just early in life. It's just like, bro, like, if this girl like me, we're talking like single digits, if this girl likes me, she kind of want to pick a fight with me. If this little nigga try to pick a fight with me, what am I led to believe? I always kept that in mind. I'm 30 now. I even told my mans, I'm like, hey, bro, you can't get caught up in these niggas' kinks. Ever since I've been around like people that's been in abusive relationships or just around abusive couples, you just peep. It's like everything is always, can I keep it funky? In the yoga of sex, or the tantra of sex, he was saying, or he put forth the idea that like everything is act between Shiva and Shakti. So I interpreted that as everything that's done between a man and a woman is a sexual act. What's done and not done, said and not said. You feel me? It shouldn't bleed into the other things, but when you got a certain model of scarcity and like unconscious obsessions and insecurities, it always gonna lead into that. You understand what I'm saying? Let me see. Is that everything with this guy? Do I got the chart for May when he did that? May 13th. Moon, look, May 13th, the day that he shot somebody, it's the same day Moon, he has Moon conjunct Saturn and Pisces in his chart. In the transit chart, lunar return, Saturn return, and Neptune is there also. So he totally deluded. I don't know if he was on drugs or something. You feel me? Like that streaming stuff, it's just all that content stuff is so much. It's like editing and this and that, and then you got posts. I would think they all, not gonna say, I'm not gonna put that on everybody, but it's like you gotta be on something. Heap of coffee and caffeine. You feel me? Rahu and Aquarius is gonna lead people to be kind of like fanatical about ideologies and stuff like that. Not quite spiritual things, but more so ideologies and things. So a Chud is a troll, a cannibal, dwells underground. Oh, hold on. Charles Manson. Chuck. Where is that? He talk about helter skelter, right? So helter skelter, he believed, Charles Manson, Chuck the Builder, and Chud, right? He believed the family would be able to hide out in a subterranean or underground dwelling in Death Valley during the race war, when the black community won but found themselves unable to govern the country. So, hold on, tell me what helter skelter is. It's a term for apocalyptic race war he believed was coming. They used that from there. So they commit murders to try and incite a race war. What did he do? He shot a man outside a courthouse in the South. I guess he's supposed to be right wing, but he really just what do you call that, bro? Sun conjunct Sun in a Rahu Nakshatra. If Sun is natural career planet, that means this person makes a profession off of malarkey, being a charlatan, a troll, no bad, a chud, chump. Y'all gotta stop, man, with that freaky stuff, man. Violence in men is akin to vanity in women. It's all just like, what you doing? You're masturbating yourself. That's what it is. That's exactly what that means. Alright. Yeah, so to trigger this war, Manson instructed his followers to commit a series of gruesome high-profile killings in affluent Los Angeles neighborhoods. The family was instructed to leave behind evidence and stage the crime scenes, such as writing piggies and blood, to make it look like black militants were responsible, thereby sparking white retaliation. Yeah, man, see, yeah, gosh. Yeah, they burnt out. And I wonder if that's like the inspiration for the guy mustache. I genuinely don't know who, because I ain't gonna say that, but a lot of times, bro, like, you know how I go. Everybody looks the same. This Manson chart, he and Chud, Chuck and Chud has Moon conjunct Saturn in common in their charts. You feel me? Sun conjunct Mercury too. Looking at other stuff, but yeah, they got that in common. So it's like, um, when you got personal planets conjunct Saturn, depending upon like what's everything else that could be going on and stuff like that, it could create a very deep insecurity within a person. Moon conjunct Saturn is a insecurity with one's homeland, with one's emotional nature, peace of mind. It could be a total lack of peace of mind. His moon is conjunct Rahu. His mind is disturbed. He lives in a state of, moon is afraid of Rahu. So in a state of perpetual just like fear. But that paranoia and anxiety are best friends with anger and hostility. So it's like the anxiety come in, it looks timid, it looks unassuming. But it's like soon as it sniff it out, okay, you could come in anger, and now anger done took over, or is taking over. And that's probably how it was. He started, okay, yeah, who is this little guy? He's got good hair, and look at his mustache, or whatever they might have said back in them times. And then next thing you know, once he get in with them, okay, cool, I'm gonna stop. He started whooping everybody's ass, so he started screaming at everybody. It's a total change up. They don't know how to deal with it. You feel me? Moon in Capricorn is in detriment, so yes, there is a lack of peace that a person has found comfort in. So they found comfort in discomfort. So Moon in Scorpio thrives in chaos and warfare. Moon in Capricorn thrives in control. You understand what I'm saying? Everything they get to complaining about stuff, so they bring everybody else happiness down. They might drain them. It is, all right, cool, this is how I like it. You understand what I'm saying? You want to feel good, go do what I tell you to. And then he sent them out, go do murders or whatever. We talked about that. What else was in this week? We talking about Saturn return, right? He going through that. He also has his soul planet on low power. He also got his soul planet, I think, in the same star as Charles Manson. Chuck and Chud ain't too, you feel me? I wonder if he be studying that little guy. You feel me? Wow, I just peeped that. Go back to Chucky chart. Yup, they got soul planet in Denista. The sign of the gang leader, or the, could be, I ain't gonna say cult leader, but definitely Denista is like Denista. Who's Denista? Grease. Johnny Travolta in Grease. He kind of the leader of the gang and stuff like that. So that's what they would aim to be. Those with you feel me? They want to be the god of clans. That's the height of Mars. So that's what they on. It's just unfortunate they got, these ideas, right? So we went over there. What else happened in the news? That was the guy. What was this? Saturday. Suspect opened fire. He was known to Secret Service. Oh, check this out. This was interesting. I'm not even gonna bat. I looked at the chart for this. So, what's that? Saturday in DC, but this is being reported on Sunday. Guy, I guess he go to one of the checkpoints at the White House and he, open fire as he get into a shootout with Secret Service. I think he passed. Suspect who died, yeah, rest in peace. Just because, hey, look, just had compassion in general. Suspect who died after exchanging fire with agents had tried to enter the complex last summer, records show. A gunman who opened fire outside the White House on Saturday before was shot by federal agents was already known to the U.S. Secret Service, court records show. He was taken to a hospital, pronounced dead. He tried to enter in 2025. My bad about that. 6 p.m. on Saturday. So I think I pulled one chart up. This was last year. So check this out. In the chart for last year, when they said they first seen him, Moon was in a star called Punarvasu, which means the return of something, the return of the light. When things happen in this star, they tend to repeat themselves. I think one of like Trump first assassination attempt, there was planets in Punarvasu. Then there was another attempt, and I think there were planets in Punarvasu again. May have been Mars or something. So Moon in this chart, Punarvasu, things gonna repeat themselves. So he came back. That was his first time sizing up the compounds and trying to figure out where I'm gonna do this at, right? For obstructing vehicle entry to part. Yeah, he was planning on doing something that day, but he was like, all right, I'm gonna come back, and that's what that is. So best claim to be Jesus said that he wanted to be arrested according to the filing. Saturn conjunct Neptune, and then Moon conjunct Jupiter, maybe. A little fanaticism. I got a hunch that say this young man was going through his shoddy. So his mind was kind of like he was going through some things. His mental health, Saturn degenerates and degrades, restricts, limits, and darkens whatever he touches. You feel me? Especially if we doing things that's kind of going counterfeit, or even if we just maybe dealing with stress from certain environments, kind of make it a little bit worse before it make it better, but just to get us aware of some things, not necessarily for us to crash out. Saturn and Mars, they kind of neutral to each other, but they seen as bitter enemies. Saturn don't want us to crash out. He kind of wants you to endure, because that's your karma, like certain stuff you might deserve. You feel me? And then sometimes you gotta go get some help, man. You feel me? But yeah, that's that chart. So let's talk about Saturn. Shoddy. I think the young man was going through shoddy and stuff. Saturn go over the mind. If Saturn represent cremation, or any place where they have to burn trash, or they have to burn like dead bodies or diseased bodies or things like that, that's what Saturn represents. Filth, the filth of your karma, stuff like that. When he go over the Moon, which represent the waters of the mind, he pollutes those waters. So you kind of thinking toxic, you doing toxic things, you doing things that not just gonna hurt you, but are likely to hurt somebody else. So it's like, I know a story. Guy probably going through some Saturn things, mind ain't right. He got a death wish. So because of victimization, he crazy. He wanna die, but everybody is always picking fights. So he go to a bus stop, he pick on this lady, and they go away. He try to pick on another lady, and he doing too much. She trying to mind her business. Next thing you know, she got to stab and kill him. You feel me? She out of it, but she not traumatized. All because he got death wish. He don't want to do it himself, or he dealing with some things. And once again, you dealing with things and you trying to deal with it yourself, but then you don't want to kind of do it. Like, if that's how you feel, just do the Lord's work and do it yourself. You put somebody else through that. So now, because when we talk, what I was just watching, Dante's Inferno, when he talk about the different circles of hell, after a certain circle, the sins that you commit involve others. You understand what I'm saying? So like, violence is done on to another person. So it's like, you're not just condemning yourself, you begin to condemn others. It's kind of like, you feel me? That's selfish, it's petty, it ain't right really. Now, for those that are going through Saturn karmas, Saturn returns and stuff like that, a lot of times those that don't change their ways while they in it, they get their wake up call, like Chud, like probably Chuck, like this young man. It's another article, lady Gwendolyn White. She's 57, which is like around the second Saturn return. You gotta change your ways. If you do not change, you will die. So you always getting windows with Saturn. So long as you living, you got time to correct your conduct. But you know, after that, Yama gonna come. If you so stubborn, Yama coming for you, and he gonna come get you. I mean, like, all right, you ain't want to do it in this life. Come on to this next one. I got you. Come back as a worm. Yeah, and what was I about to say? Some people that might be in their little Saturn returns and stuff like that, or they might have missed out on it, and then they start struggling, and then they mad at everybody because they struggling, and then they try to cling to you or cling to this person, so as to like use you to keep them afloat or something like that. And it's just like or to avoid their own karmas, because I think that's possible. You can share karma with a person, you know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be too much, but like it could have a net negative on yours, right? Cause I ain't gonna back, it's a closed circuit. We all in this joint together. So how you sit up there and treat somebody, they have to treat somebody else that way. They gotta get it out. Everybody is not strong enough to sit up there and try to transmute that junk. You dig what I'm saying? Man. We gotta be more gentle with each other, my nigga. I ain't gonna bap. A little bit more compassion and stuff. And then with ourselves too. So Gwendolyn White, she shot 2 attorneys outside the courthouse also. Yup. So she shot somebody outside the courthouse too. She is 57. Oh, what day was this? On Friday. Do I got a chart for that? I got 21st of May, but I think that's for something else. Yeah. Oh, well, it's just the next day if it was Friday. If it was the next day, Moon was in a Astrologer. Moon in a Astrologer is the basis above is to attack. So they get on the attack, they're very defensive, but they also might suffer from some paranoia also. So there's just a lot of unprovoked hostility. It'd be like, yeah, they might be tweaking. They'll just spaz on you. Oh, and I bet that bring me to this next jump, cause she said more than a dozen lawsuits, but she also put in for, like, she put a statement out calling for mental health resources. Yeah, see. Alright, parents threaten me. She, after a while, okay, yeah. Alright, a decent segue. Saturn return. Wait, alright, Critica. We talk about mental health and stuff, right? So this last new moon was in the star Critica, the head of the cosmic man, Kalparush. So it's presided over by Agni, who illuminates, heats, warms, right? It's a force that creates new things, or he really acts as a messenger between earth and heaven. So the body, the brain, the mind, and all of the senses in the body and the neurons and what is that? Yeah, everything in our body. So Critica, being the brain, relates to neuroplasticity, the firing of axons and the neurons that go through our brain. The more that we use these neurons, right? Neurons that what is it, fire together, something like that. But when they fire together, they wire together. So the more we use these neurons and travel these pathways, it gets stronger. It becomes more automatic, right? So because Critica is a mixed star, it has kind of like mixed effects. It's sharp and gentle, so it can kind of like bring joy, pleasure, satisfaction, or it can bring some hardships. So when we talk about automatic consciousness and stuff like that, or just like automatic behaviors and habits deeply ingrained, it's due to us traveling and firing down them same pathways. Now, it also ties Aries Critica ties into the hippocampus, which is like a structure in the deep part of the brains. It's linked with our memories. It's linked with how we understand or get context from a thing, right? In an era of content, right? You can't spell content nor context without the con. So you gotta have discernment. You gotta be able to hold on. This is an easy pathway to travel. A lot of times the things that's in your mind is written also on your face and in your body. They're all connected, right? So when we learn new things, or when we sit up there and interrupt old patterns, our entire being get to restructuring itself. It has to. It's like, whoa, you didn't go down there. It slowly begins to shrink those neurons. So when you got addictions or certain habits or behaviors that you go towards, if you could just interrupt it, pause for a second, your brain and body and being, past, present, future, everything, it get to change. It got to restructure. Okay, you don't want to sit up there and smoke now. Is we gonna smoke later? It might not even go that far. It's like training a dog a little bit. Like, once you pull the food out, it's like tail get the wagging. It can't sit still. You be like sit. It'll sit for a second, and then it get back up, and then you be like sit again, and then you might have to sit yourself for a little bit, and then the dog sit down a little bit longer, but he gonna get back up. Can't get mad. Gotta accept whatever progress that you make and stuff like that. So sometimes in that in recovery and healing, you gonna relapse, but you have to know you're gonna relapse. Don't feel shame. Once you feel shame, you're gonna fall even deeper into that, because now it's tied in with your emotions and your memory, and how you felt when like you first started this addiction or this habit or this whatever it is you're doing. Even if it's just like, all right, man, moving to a new city and stuff like that. Like, you're so used to going to the giant down there. Now they don't even have giants in this part of the country. You feel me? They don't have nothing that you used to in this part of the country, and it's on the other side of town. You understand what I'm saying? And you gotta open up new pathways. So the hippocampus also ties into our own little personal GPS, our spatial reasoning, how we know how far we can reach from our body to an object, or even like our estimates as to how far it'll take for us to get from this point to your friend house or something like that, right? So it's a lot going on with the hippocampus. As a result, it gets stressed and overstimulated, or things like trauma can sit up there and cause it to misfire or spike somewhere, right? So once that gets dysregulated, you take everything out of context. So you might just be sleeping, maybe you slept a little bit late, everybody else is getting stuff done, they starting and beginning their day. You take it out of context, you think they out to get you, you think people picking on you or something like that. You feel like you really being a victim, and you feel like you're being victimized. So you're gonna start picking fights. You dig what I'm saying? Because you're taking things out of context. If that's the case, in the sense of this guy, this lady, Chuck, Chud, a lot of individuals that's going through their little Saturn karma, especially like when Saturn going with their moon, they gotta limit their stress. They might have to really just change. When Saturn come around, you may have to pivot. I went through my Saturn karmas. I stopped eating animals. That's why I had that little extra moment about the cannibal part of Chud. But it's like, nah, if something got eyes and it got a mother, I really don't want the karma from, participating in whatever, because it's a ritual. You gotta have it. Maybe you eat 3 times a day, maybe you eat 1 time a day. You make sure that you get you a portion of some type of flesh or whatever it may be. I don't know. But I ain't want to incorporate that into minds, because it's like whatever trauma and stress and overstimulation that animal may have went through, I'm cool. So yeah. So neuroplasticity, yoga. I was doing yoga during my Saturn karmas. The discipline of the yamas and the yamas. One of those is that of nonviolence, not eating animals. Contributes to the act of nonviolence. So I practice that. That's for me though. You dig what I'm saying? It may work for me, might not work for you. But through that, we learn to interrupt these old grooves, because old habits are like paved highways, and making new habits is like creating a road through dense forests. Every stop, every time we pause and interrupt the past cycle and get off on that exit, we clear more space and strengthen a new pathway, right? And then what else was in the news? Chemical tank in California. What was the Shakti for Kritika? The Shakti for Kritika was the power to burn and purify. So yeah, it's a lot of things sabotage. It's like, what's the thing with the Chud guy? He got separated, and his baby mom, she was like, we don't want nothing to do with you, it's too risky. So it's causing him, he probably burned up inside, you feel me? And now, goodness gracious, he didn't kill that man, but still you shooting somebody outside the courthouse is just like buffoonery. I don't even understand. You trying to incite riots or something. It's just, people like the freak show. You used to have to travel to the outskirts of town for the freak show. You don't have to go to, you don't gotta travel that far. You just open your phone, there it is. You think the freak show wasn't doing numbers? They're coming, bro. Cirque du Soleil, they doing numbers to see people do these antics and all these tricks and dress up and with their fancy hair and stuff like that. Come on, bro. You gotta know what's up. And it's America, so everything, the internet is the Coliseum. You dig what I'm saying? The internet is now in the Coliseum. But this junk came, and check this out. I peeped this when I was looking at the I immediately be looking at the charts and stuff. So chemical tank on the edge of exploding as they try to avert disaster. This is 21st of May. Moon and Pusha, the power to build spiritual energy, right? Jupiter and Punarvasu, something is going to occur again, either in the future or this has already occurred in the past, right? Saturn conjunct Neptune, the restriction of gases and like all that type of Neptunian stuff, fluids. And I think it went crack just recently. It cracked when Moon was conjunct K2, which is the power to lead a body. So it, alleviated some pressure when it cracked just recently. It was on the edge of exploding, but I think it cracked, let out some pressure. It's not good for the air, but you know how it go. Now, chemical spill East Palestine in Ohio. This was last year in February, right? Check this out. Mars and Punarvasu in retrograde. This event occurs again. Moon and Aries, Ashwini is the power to reach objectives quickly. I guess they did get on this quick enough. It's a star of transportation. So star transportation, Moon and star transportation is being disposited by Mars and Gemini, but Mars is retrograde, so there's some type of like karmic situation or event that goes on. And because Mars is Amakarga in this chart, it also leaves a big pile of trash and karma. You know what I'm saying? And because it's because it's in Punarvasu, this occurs again, and it occurred the next year in May. Feel me? Let me see if I see anything else. Yeah. Alright, Mo. I guess I'll post that, John. I'm trying to figure something out.